can't stay away. I'm blaming it all on the dark nights out in Gotham. Singing them. What? You were supposed to have my harmonies BG style, boys. What to do with a couple of, stuffed heads like these two? How you doing? Welcome back. It's time once again for the golden age of DC Comics, 365 days, where I take this beloved hardcover coffee table book given to me about 2 decades ago by one of my best friends, and it has been surfing my coffee table ever since, providing me with ample opportunity to have comic book shop style conversations with you every single day. Thank you so much for tuning in. Pull up a chair to the coffee table. Bring a cup of whatever you want. I'm going to wet my whistle. This is good stuff. This is Ugandan Bujisu Fair Trade. It's a dark bean. The notes of dark chocolate, raisin, and vanilla. This is really darn good. This is a damn good cup of coffee. Like that Twin Peaks quote said, I am using this book for its intended purpose. This is a 365 days book. We're going to open up to today's date, which is November the 10th. We're going to look at some comic book art of an antediluvian age. We're going to read the blurb, and then we're going to talk about comic books. And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. You got it. Thank you so very much for tuning in. You are the most important part of this conversation. You really are. The conversation we've been having all year long. Keep those comments coming. This is great. Thank you. This is our show, and we make this happen. I thank you so very much. Yeah, Mandy Summers, I'm ripping you off, love bug. I love you. And so the golden age of DC Comics runs between 1938 and 1955. The silver age between 1956 and 1970. The bronze age, I'm a bronze age baby myself, runs between 1970 and 1984 or 5. And the copper age begins in 1985. I get these standards and definitions from the most recent copy of the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guides Glossary. I feel that's a great place to have some fair standards about this subject. And what is going on today? It's November the 10th. We're going to open this book up. I hope that you're having an awesome day. I hope you're clobbering your problems and not being clobbered by them. Over and out. Cheers. And let's get to it. Let's get to the show. Oh, jeez. And it's Earth's mightiest mortal in a precarious, uncomplimentary position. Oh, no. November the 10th. It's story by Otto Binder. Art by C.C. Beck from Whiz Comics. Number 56. July of 1944. We have 4 sequential panels. 3 of them are cropped off at the top, but we can see the gutters, the borders. And then we have a close-up of some hijinks. Holy moly! Oh dear, this is awful! Indeed, there's what is going on here? What's with the light? What's with Captain Marvel? What's he doing? What's going on behind him? I have no idea. Oh dear, this is awful. Let's read the blurb. Even before World War II was over, comic books were predicting a consumer paradise for the post-war world. In this story, Captain Marvel designs the future. The world's mightiest mortal discovers that although he may be too tough for crooks and monsters, he's no match for the automated House of Tomorrow, as envisioned by the well-known engineer and designer, Professor Whim. And that must be Professor Whim. And there's, good old Billy Batson in his kid-like nature. Maybe he's looking for his marbles. And they're underneath the couch. Oh, it's a slow news week. It really is. We've talked a lot about Captain Marvel. We will continue to do so. We love Captain Marvel, his sister Mary, and I know that Freddie Freeman, the Captain Marvel Jr., is coming up in just a few pages as well. We make show notes here. That's why Pika does a hard work. You know, he doesn't sit around all day while I'm at work. He's making show notes. He's producing the show. You know, he's pretty much the cameraman, and that's Drinker. He's a union chap, so he gets a tea break. Yeah, tea, right. Indeed. I wanted to bring up something we've been talking about. It's DK week, okay? We're still doing DK week. Today we're doing Dark Knight 3: The Master Race Part 2. We started yesterday, and we're gonna do that today. Give it some time that it needs. But before I get there, I wanted to bring up Shazam, because today we had Shazam, Captain Marvel, Fawcett Comics. They were the big competitor to Superman, so much so that they went bankrupt in all the legalities and eventually had to sell Captain Marvel, Shazam, to DC Comics. So that means Shazam plays with Superman, and sometimes they fight. And I wanted to just show that another instance of an alternate future with older superheroes, and this is not to be confused with Dark Knight. It's a different story, a different alternate multiverse world. But we can see in this beautiful Alex Ross art. We're going to come back to Kingdom Come on another day, on another slow news day, and give it the time it deserves. But in this tale, we have Captain Marvel being a foe of Superman. And that Lex Luthor lied to Billy Batson and is using him against Superman. And remember, Superman, by this point, is more mature and a lot more indestructible, yet he still can get hurt by magic. And so much so that Kingdom Come is a really interesting book. So Shazam sacrifices himself to save as many as he can and to stop a bomb. Yeah. We're gonna get into Kingdom Come itself, but I wanted to show some other Shazam and Superman while we're at it, because we're about to get into the end of Dark Knight 3. Yeah, so just a little something to dovetail our subject matter to today's topic here. And we have Dark Knight 3. Let's read the blurb from the wiki about Dark Knight 3 real quick. It's 2015, 2017, 9-issue DC limited series, co-written by Frank Miller and Brian Azzarello, illustrated by Miller, Andy Kubert, and Klaus Johnson. And it's the third part of the ongoing Dark Knight Returns world, aka Earth 31. And so these were I got them all. They're really nice magazines. Each one has a mini comic inside of it. It says Dark Knight Universe presents The Atom #1. And I didn't take them all out. This is book 5, issue 5. Lara, you know what I mean? Exactly. Look at it. She's trying to be romanced by one of the Kandorians, and it's not going to happen. I mean, yeah. But what's this book all about? Well, Ray Palmer, the Atom, restores 1,000 inhabitants of the bottled city of Kandor. Superman's bottled. These are Kryptonians. If you didn't know, Superman has a place on Earth called the Fortress of Solitude. In it, he keeps his many knickknacks and things. But also he has the city of Kandor of Krypton was stolen by Brainiac. It was miniaturized and put in a bottle for his display in his collection. So Superman saved Kandor, but was never able to figure out how to bring them back to their proper size. Actually, there was one really good fate for the Kandorians. Grant Morrison had an all-star Superman where he put the Kandorians on Mars. Same yellow sun, same powers. Scale is irrelevant without all of us other big humans around it, isn't it? Yeah, that's fun. I mean, yeah. And then the Kandorians helped Kal-El in the same book, All-Star Superman, fight cancer in humans. You know what I mean? Just you can inject some Kandorians into your bloodstream. They can go in with their heat rays and kill any, cells or tumors. Or isn't that wonderful? It's just, yeah. I mean, that's the mind of Grant Morrison. But today we're talking about Frank Miller and his style. It's gritty, noir, urban, very New York, very Manhattan. Like I said before, Frank Miller lived in Manhattan for a good while, and especially during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. They moved to L.A., then moved back to Manhattan shortly before 9/11. And 9/11 had a big impact on Frank Miller, shook him up ideologically, so to speak, as well. So now we have 1,000 Supermen under a charismatic Kryptonian leader who truly believes in their betterness than everyone else. So this is 100% allegory, and like I said before, Frank, you know what you're getting into when you're buying a Frank Miller Dark Knight book. You know where he's coming from. You know what kind of what any slant like that he has, any bias that he has politically might kind of seep into that. So there is a very non-diverse group of superpowered individuals, and they all have powers identical to Superman. They just don't know how to use them as well as Superman. I'll tell you that much. But if they think they're better than everyone else and they want to take over the world and colonize, and who's standing in their way but Batman, his SOBs, the Sons of Batman. Now we have Batwoman. So if you remember yesterday, we started off by the 3 panels: Bat suit and display, broken glass, broken display, mannequin. So somebody has put on the bat suit. By the end of the issue, we figure out it's Carrie Kelly. There's who has just beaten up a whole slew of cops and is finally apprehended. And she does that for a reason. And she gets busted out. And she's then given another Batwoman costume, which is pretty awesome. It's got these like really bright colors to it. So it's there's always an angle of fashion in this as well. I just really enjoyed it. But I want to get to it. This is book 5. And going through this book once again reminded me about the power of the 3-act story. It reminded me of all the events of the stories. Oh, this happened. Like, wow, that happened really, that happens at the end of Act 2. Oh, really? Yeah, here's that Batgirl costume I'm talking about. Purples and greens. Kind of like the Joker's colors, but using it for the forces of good. So we have all these Kandorians. We have Batman showing up back in the Batmobile in his Superman fighting armor. And what he does, he releases a green rain. All that kryptonite that he used to fight Clark with in the first one. And what does he do to protect Clark? He gives him his own suit of lead. And this is where it comes full circle from the beginning. This is for me my favorite moment in the entire book. Is this right here. I got your back. I got your back. They're friends. It's okay to friends for fight. It's okay for friends to fight. It's a matter of what you do afterwards that counts the most. They've been friends for years, and they had a problem, and they had a fight, and they probably didn't speak to each other for a little while. But guess what? This is what I love this character moment. And look at the smile on Batman. That's a Batman who's smiling, isn't it? Isn't that great? So they get together, they to beat the Kandorians, and what happens is Bruce gets killed. Yeah, he gets, and yeah, let's just. I love Carrie Kelly's Batgirl outfit in this. It's only for this, for this series, because she wants. By the end of it, she's like, "No, I want, some normal colors." But yeah, Batman, and so we have the heartbeat, and this is a really interesting payoff to the setup of the heartbeat at the end of the original Dark Knight Returns. And so, what does Superman do? He drops him into a Lazarus pit. And here's another mini issue inside it. This is Strange Adventures #1, like the Hawk's children, the new Hawkman and Hawkwoman. And this is a great line in this, like I wish you hadn't have done that. And let's not forget that now there are two. This is the next generation of super people. The Kandorians really find out about Jonathan Kent and want him as to keep him, so they have kind of a messiah thing for the next generation, and probably the most powerful potential human that could stop them in the future too. And what they've done is they appeal to Lara and her Kryptonian heritage, and to try to be with us, not with them and those sheeple kind of thing, And there's a lot to be said about cults and cultish behavior, and about trying to bring someone over to your side. But yeah, here it is once again. Look at that. What is that? That's a smartphone. That's an iPhone, or that's a Galaxy. I mean, this is now. I mean, this has brought these information devices into our story that we did not have in 1986 or 2001. And this is it. Yeah, look at that. There we go. That's Carrie's final costume. The New World's Finest team. I love these little comics inside of it. These are great. So the primary art is done by Adam Kubert, inked by Klaus Johnson, and Frank Miller did most of the art in the mini comics. And it's this is really good. What happens to the rest of the Kandorians? Well, they get defeated soundly, and the heroes live happily ever after. See, you know what's the punditry? It's its theme. Hello. And but Batman says to Clark, "I wish you hadn't have done that, bringing him back, because what it did was it also, if you can notice, it de-aged him as well." And here we have a callback to that classic cover of this. Indeed, that's Dark Knight 3. Dark Knight 3 is really good. If you might have missed it. Yeah, that's how's that? I wanted to point out one thing about this too. So DC Comics moved from New York to LA around this time. And yeah, June the 3rd, 2015, DC Comics completes move from Manhattan to Burbank to be closer to Warner Brothers Studios. And I just want to say, okay, look. See this? That's their that was one of the drop rebranding, like the fresh ink and the turning page, and then halfway they go through a rebrand. They move the offices to California from where it's been since 1938, from Manhattan to California, and the entire culture of DC Comics changed. And their entire expectations now that they're like fully, entwined and enmeshed over in LA and the Warners, and because there's a huge tonal shift in comics and DC Comics around that time too. But yeah, so this is the new logo, and this is the current logo as well. My goodness, it's going on too long. We gotta wrap this up. Pika, what happened to the timer? Oh my goodness! What I've been having fun talking about comic books. I hope you have too. Let me know in the comments section what you think and how you feel. And have you read DK3 The Master Race? What did you think? I loved it. I love these comic books. I hope there is more in our future. Frank's is no spring chicken. I met him back in August at the Fan Expo, Boston, and he, like I like to say, his eyes are bright, and he suffered a stroke a few years ago, so he's gonna take the rest of his life to recover from that, if you know what I mean. So I just valued that moment meeting him. He actually spoke to me for a few minutes, because I gave him an issue. I'll talk about that tomorrow. I'll bust that out tomorrow in the Golden Child, and I was thinking about doing a wrap-up episode as well. And but yeah, we've been talking about comic books, and we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here. We talk about comic books. We make regular content, talking about cooking. I am known as the Sultan of Soup. If you came over from Wes's Thinking Critical, if you mention Doc, you will get half off your next bowl of soup. I swear. And thank you so very much. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. Cheers. Bye-bye.